Hey, what's up, everybody? Chris Shank here from Tribert Personal Training. Today, we are going to talk about what you need to know about nutrition in regards to your weight loss success. I'm going to dive into some pretty heavy stuff, but I'm going to make it easy to understand, hopefully. That's what I'm hoping for. Okay, so I know we want to hit this about 20 minutes, so I'm going to get going at it right now. So, first thing, before we kind of get into it, is that who is this guy talking about nutrition? Who am I to talk about it, and why is that important? Well, my name is Chris Shank. I am the owner of Tribert Personal Training. We are the only weight loss specialized personal training studio in Mesa, Arizona. And that's important because there's other gyms that will do, weight loss and bodybuilding and strength training and all those things, but we specialize in weight loss. So if you're coming to us, it's because we are the best and the authority on weight loss in the valley. So we kind of have an idea what we're talking about when it comes to weight loss. Just so you know, even this past month, we had a weight loss of 250 pounds in just 1 month from all my clients. It's pretty remarkable. Even this past week, it's been about 100, implementing some of the stuff that I'm going to show you today. So be prepared for that. It's going to be pretty sweet. And lastly, I am married to my high school sweetheart. We've been together for 6 years, and we are having our first kid on the way. She's actually 32 weeks pregnant. I just didn't have her pictures on there of this week, but 32, having a girl. It's going to be pretty sweet. So let's hurry and dive into this stuff, shall we? So we're going to go over what macronutrients are and how they're different and do different things in your body, and basically why calories are not calories. Because if we know calories come from macronutrients, we know that they act differently in our body. Next is what micronutrients are. And this is very important because without micronutrients, it's like having a car without oil in it. You have the car, but you don't have the proper things to run the car. Next, we'll go over looking at a nutrition label to see what we need to do when looking at these to see if we should eat this product or not. And then lastly, how to lose weight and finally reach your weight loss goals. Then the bonus, which is pretty sweet. We'll have to see what that is at the end. So stick around for this time, and you'll get to the bonus, and we'll go over what that is and get you set up with that. Next, so first thing is protein. Protein is very important. It is the building blocks of your body. So without protein, it's very difficult for your body to actually make things like your new skin and hair and nails and muscles and all sorts of things. So we need protein. The top 5 places to get protein are chicken, fish, steak, eggs, and turkey. And even if you are a vegetarian, you can still get protein from quinoa, edamame, black beans, peanut butter, and peas. Now, I know you probably heard this before, but I'm not sure if you've heard of what's called a complete protein and an incomplete protein. So most meats, if not every single meat, is a complete protein. It has every single amino acid, which is what make the little things that make up protein. They have every single one of those in the meat. Now, some plant proteins do not have those in them, which means you'd need to supplement certain amino acids if you don't take in the products that have all of them, so you can make sure you can have a complete amino acid profile. Next are fats, and fats are, there's 3 different types. There's trans fat, saturated fat, and unsaturated fat. Trans fat is the worst fat. You don't want to touch that thing at all. It's come mostly from fast food restaurants. And have you ever seen anybody eat a really healthy on a fast food restaurant diet? No, never. So it's super important we don't take in a lot of those, and typically we don't already if you don't eat out a lot. Next is saturated fat. This is fat typically comes from meat, which is things like bacon, red meat. Some meat from chicken and fish are saturated fat as well. Last is unsaturated fat. This is the best fat you can have. This fat helps you lose weight because there was a study that came out from England that had women come in and just talk about their diet, and the women that ate more unsaturated fat almost always weighed less than those who didn't take in the unsaturated fat. Now, is it the fat that's causing them to lose weight, or is it that the foods they're eating that contain the unsaturated fat better than the other ones? I would kind of go with the later one, that the foods that contain unsaturated fat are better for you, therefore you'll lose weight and be less heavy than those who don't. So we want to take in those as much as possible. Next is carbohydrates. These are things like sugars and vegetables and fruit and things like that. You can break these down into two main groups. First one is being a complex carbohydrate, and this is basically tomatoes, quinoa, carrots, broccoli, spinach, things that are very healthy for you for the most part. They have nutrients in them. They're made in the ground. Some meats have carbohydrates in them from the animals that eat the vegetables and the grass and things like that. They'll have carbs in them. Next is simple. Simple are things like bananas, donuts, white bread, sugary drinks, basically things that are bad for you. The only exceptions that are simple carbohydrates that are good for you are bananas, grapes, watermelon, and cantaloupe. They contain a lot of sugar in them, and sugar is a simple carbohydrate. And I'll go into more detail why that's important, that we need to limit simple carbohydrates, and you want to take in as much complex carbohydrates as possible. Okay. Next is macronutrients. This is, like I said before, this is like having a car that you don't do any maintenance on. If you do not eat a lot, if you hit like all of your macronutrients, you get taken enough protein, enough carbs, and enough fat for you to go throughout the day, but you don't have a lot of micronutrients, there's going to be a problem in your body. It's like not changing your oil. If you don't change your oil, your car is going to eventually like break down because there's nothing to help the vehicle run. So the micronutrients are the vitamins and minerals. Vitamins are made by animals or plants, and they're organic, so they're made from them, unlike minerals that are made in the soil or by decomposing things and things like that. And water has minerals in it as well, so that makes it inorganic. Next, vitamins. There's a bunch of vitamins. First one, there's two different types really. There's a fat-soluble and a water-soluble vitamin. So I'll go through each of them and tell you what they are and what they do. So vitamin A, typically found in carrots and broccoli, and it's for eyesight. This is a fat-soluble vitamin, which means fat has to be present in order for your body to utilize this vitamin. Vitamin B is for energy metabolism, spinach and red meat. Now, typically a myth people will do, or myth that's out there, is you'll get B vitamin shots to lose weight, and this is only part of the piece of your weight loss success. Just because you've taken a lot of vitamin B does not mean that you will lose weight. Just simply does not mean that, because what if you don't have any of the other vitamins that are very essential for life in your body? It's like, oh, my car's, I just put oil in my car, but I never changed the brakes and I never rotated the tires or changed the spark plugs. Doesn't mean your car is going to just run because you changed the oil. You have to do other things to it as well. And that's what these other vitamins and minerals are. Next is C. This is red peppers and oranges, and this breaks down fatty acids and amino acids to their usable parts. So there's specific amino acids that are out that help you like build muscle. And in order for your body to utilize those properties of those amino acids, vitamin C goes in there and kind of grabs those amino acids and brings them to where they need to go. So that's the role of vitamin C. Okay. Next is vitamin D, and this is found in milk and actually in the sun. So what happens is you go outside, skin gets hit by sun, and it metabolizes vitamin D and absorbs vitamin D through the air. It's pretty sweet. And this big thing with bone health. So women typically need to have a lot of vitamin C because they're more prone to having osteoporosis, big time. Vitamin E is made in avocados and plant oils. And this helps a lot with immune system. And by the way, because I forgot, B and C are water soluble and D and E are fat soluble. So they need to have fat with them to use. Okay. Last is K. This is another fat soluble vitamin, and this is with blood clotting. So super important that if you don't take in a lot of vitamin K and you're really deprived, it'll take you a lot longer for your blood to stop spewing out your arm because you don't have anything to help clot it. Minerals, top 5. There's a bunch of them. I just picked the top 5 that I think are very important to weight loss. First is calcium. Helps with it comes from milk, and it helps with bone health It also helps with muscle contraction and things like that. Sodium, it helps with water balance. Now, the problem with sodium is there's a problem and a benefit with it. It's good to take in sodium because it helps you retain water and use it for other metabolic processes in the body. But it is also bad because you can take in too much sodium and you'll retain too much water and you'll gain weight that way because you're holding on to water. And it can increase your blood pressure and all that stuff. So we want to make sure we take in just the right amount of water and sodium. Okay. Next is iron, and iron is in fish and in plenty of different things, but fish has a lot of iron in it. And this is mainly for blood. It helps with your oxygen. Like when you breathe, you need to have a lot of iron because iron kind of grabs the oxygen in your from your lungs and brings it to places so you can live and get oxygen where you need it to. Chromium is super important, and this is probably one of the number one things for weight loss here. One in the last one, I think, is chromium, and this helps with insulin production, insulin utilization, and it's that why that's important is because if our body's not able to utilize insulin very well, then we're not able to like control our blood sugar levels. And when we don't control our blood sugar levels, like I'll show you in the next slide, bad things happen to good people. So we really need to make sure that we do that. Last is iodine, and people always talk about having a thyroid problem, and sometimes it could just be an lack of iodine, really. But iodine, there's a whole bunch of iodine in cod, but you can just Google foods that contain iodine, and there's a bunch of them. But its main purpose is thyroid function, and the thyroid is like one of the master glands in your body, and it has so many properties to do with metabolism and your energy level and all sorts of things. So we really need to make sure that we have our thyroid functioning properly so that we can really like keep your body nice and maintained. Just like a car. If we take care of the things that we need to take care of in a car, pretty much everything else with it's going to be fine. If we change the spark plugs, if we do the oil, if we can and make sure we put good gas in it and drive it safely and all the other things, our body and just like our car will run just fine. Next is the nutrition label, and a couple things with this that get really sneaky is number one is the calories here don't always match up with the calories that are on the label. Let me explain. So if we know that there's 1 gram, if 1 gram of fat is 9 calories, and 1 gram of carbs are 1 gram of carbs are 4 calories, as well as 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. If we do multiplication, all of these numbers, the 13 by 4 times by 4, 36 times by 4, and 1 times 9 by 4 should equal 200, but it doesn't. In this case, it actually equals 205. So we need to make sure that the numbers on the label actually match up to the numbers that are at the top. But more importantly, we need to look at the serving size at the very top. We need to look at the serving size at the very top, because in some cases, like some certain drinks or packaging, it looks like it's a single serving, but when in reality there's 2 servings or even 3 servings in a package, but it's small enough or appears small enough that it's a single serving size. So we need to make sure that we watch that. Another thing to look for is the sugars added or sugars in a product. So if we look here, there are 6 grams of sugar out of 36 grams of total carbs, which is not terrible. But if we were to say there was 10 grams of sugar out of 36, that's where it starts getting a little high. And we need to make sure that it gets lower because added sugar is a problem, and I'll show you in this next slide why. Okay. The very bottom underneath the black bar is always the supplement or the vitamins and minerals area where it'll say what vitamins are in what. A food is considered a nutrient-dense food when there's a lot of nutrients with not many calories. So a really, really big one of those would be a really good example of those would be a spinach. There's like 7 calories in one serving of spinach, but there's a whole bunch of potassium, a lot of vitamin A, and a lot of what things called phytochemicals in there. On the reverse end, when it's something calorie dense, is when there's obviously a lot of calories and few nutrients. Now, these both can be good for you for one of two reasons. One is that when we don't take in a lot of calories, we put ourselves in a starvation type of state. And by doing so, it kind of shuts our metabolism off and slows it down significantly for an extended period of time. But when we take in too many calories, our body's in a state of, oh man, we need to hold on to all these, especially if they're bad calories, like I'll show you in the next slide. Now, a source is high in something when 20% of the nutrient is found in one serving. So in this case, on this guy, there is 24% of iron. So this would be a high source of iron of this product, whatever it is. Now, next thing here is the glycemic index. This is the key to this whole thing. I'm going to spend a little bit of time here. So the glycemic index is basically your body's response, or a way to measure your body's response to any type of food you put into your body in regards to its insulin production. So long story short, the more insulin that's in the blood, the more that the food or the sugar or the carbohydrate or whatever it is that you've taken in is going to go to a cell to either be used for energy or to be used to store as fat. And typically it's stored as fat, and I'll show you how and why. So first thing is protein. When we take in protein, and by the way, this red line here, this red thick line, is normal range. So if we stay in that normal range, our body has very little insulin response because it knows that we're in the normal range, so it doesn't need to worry. Okay, so protein has a little bit of an insulin response, but nothing that we need to worry about. Fat has literally zero insulin response. Insulin does not have the right key to grab fat. So not saying that you could eat as much fat as you'd like, but I'm saying that you could have fat and not have any insulin response. Next are regular carbs. These would be your complex carbs. These complex carbs are things like the quinoa, the spinach, tomatoes, onions, things like that are made of carbs, yes, but they're not carbs that would have much of an insulin response in your body. Lastly are sugars. Sugars have a very high insulin response, and even higher depending on your body and what the sugar is. So really quick, if I were to say, let's say, and this number right here, we'd like to be between 60 and 100. This is where your body thinks that everything's kind of cool. So let's say we take in sugar and it goes really high. Let's say this is at like 200 right here. Okay, our body says, holy crap, they have a bunch of sugar coming, or a bunch of sugar in the body. I'm going to try to beat it so I can grab all this and make sure I have enough. So your body makes like, let's say 250 insulin to go and grab this. So we take in, or I should say 300. We'll say 300. So right here we're at 50, we'll say, or like 60, 70. We'll say 70. So 70 here, and we take in 200 carbs. So this would be 270, and our body makes 300 insulin to grab this. So obviously we take all the sugar that we've taken, we able to grab all the sugar we've taken in, but now we made 300, and this extra 30 insulin will grab the blood sugar that's in here and take it and make us have low blood sugar. Two things happen when we have low blood sugar. Number one is that our body craves sugary foods because it wants to get us back to this area here. It wants to get us back there, and it knows that, oh man, if I take in drink another Mountain Dew, I'll be able to get at least to here. But then when it gets high again, oh no, we have to produce more insulin. It goes down and up and down and up and down. And this, my friend, is how we get diabetes right here. And also how we gain weight, because down here we have to do something with this. So from here, all it's doing right here is grabbing it. It takes it, puts it to the cell, and after we're done drinking that Mountain Dew, we sit down and it's stored as fat right away, okay? So next thing is how to make a meal. Go over this really quick because I know we're kind of running out of time on this 20-minute thing, and I want to go over the bonus with you so we make sure that you're not running late for anything, okay? So serving size is how I tell my clients to make their meals. It's based off serving size, not necessarily calories, okay? First thing is protein. You want to have it the size of your palm, so around your palm, and the width, so the height, width, and then the depth of your palm too. Grains are a handful. So if you have quinoa, it's about a handful, which would be about a cup from for most grains. Okay. Next is vegetables and fruit. That's a fist size. And then fats. These are a thumb's length. So thumb's length and width, just about the same size as thumb. So maybe like 8 or 10 almonds is about a thumb's width, things like that. So to make a meal for each breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we like to have one of each of these for women and 2 of each of them for men. So now on to the bonus. So because obviously you're here because you want to lose weight and because you wouldn't sit through a 20-minute webinar if you weren't kind of serious about it, I am offering you a 14-day fat furnace program at my personal training studio or online because you might not be able to make it to my studio, which is totally fine. Okay. So it's going to be the same program though. 14 days of unlimited personal training. So for the 14-day program online, you can do it, at home. I'll give you 14 days worth of workouts and you will do them all each day. Also, it comes with a meal plan. So if you don't understand nutrition, if this is still tough for you, I give you a done-for-you meal plan that has worked with my clients to get them the weight loss results that they have. So also on top of that, it comes with 2 different things. It comes with, if you come to my gym, to my studio, it comes with a success session, which basically we go over your goals, figure out where you're at now, where you need to be. That also is with the online program, but what is not at the online program is a body diagnostic, unless you come to my facility and I'll give you one. So body diagnostic is not just your run-of-the-mill measurement like weight and body fat. What we do is we do circumference measurements to see where you're at now in the 14 days, and we do it again at the end. We also do weight, body fat, and a fitness assessment. So we put you through a workout to see where you're at fitness wise now, and then where your fitness is at after. Now, all you need to do is on the right hand side of the page, it'll have the 14-day program set up for you on there. All you need to do is select if you're going to come to my personal training studio for those times, or if you're going to do them at home, so I can make your program for you there. And the best part of it is, because you sat through this webinar and because you're obviously somebody who's, really serious about losing weight, that's why you're here, I'm actually going to give it to you for half price. So normally my 14-day fat furnace is $74, but for you today, if you sign up within the next 15 minutes, it will be $37 only. So all you need to do again is click on the right-hand side of this page. It'll say sign up, and then I will either meet you online or meet you in my gym as soon as you do that. When I receive your confirmation email that you have purchased your program, I will reach out to you and find a time to schedule you to come in. If you do have any questions regarding that program, you can give me a call at 540-TRIBRID1. That is 540-TRIBRID1, TRIBRID. You can give me a call at that number. If I do not answer it, I'm probably, training other people or on the line with somebody else. So leave a message and I will get back to you as short as I can. All right. Well, good to have you here, and I will see you as soon as I get your confirmation email. Talk to you later.